Howdy everyone, and welcome to the Serial Geek TV YouTube channel. My name is James Eatock, and today I present to you the third of 4 videos that cover Galaxy High School, featuring a plethora of never-before-seen production materials. In parts 1 and 2, I talked about how the series came to be and dove into the never-before-seen series Bible penned by Chris Columbus. So let us continue our deep dive into the series Bible, because there's still a wealth of material. Chapter 8, the original pilot episode. Whilst the overall structure of Chris Columbus's original script for Welcome to Galaxy High, the very first episode of the series, remains the same, a lot of the dialogue is different, but most striking of all is that unlike the episode produced, in which the story begins with both Doyle and Amy arriving at Galaxy High School, here we get to see the pair going about their daily lives at the wonderfully named Elvis Presley High School, based in Cleveland, Ohio. Not only that, but it was originally written that we would have gotten to see the moment that the pair learn that they were about to venture into outer space. And so, without further ado, let us take a look at the original script.
Exterior, Elvis Presley High School. Morning. A modern 2-story Cleveland, Ohio high school. Students loiter outside of the building, waiting for their first classes to begin. Souped-up clunkers, classics, and new cars gather in the parking lot. Their radios blast the latest tunes. Doyle Cleverlobe struts to the school's front door. Doyle is the coolest, the hippest, the most popular kid in school. He is dressed in the latest fashions. The other students watch Doyle as he passes, admiring him. Doyle arrives at his group of friends. He exchanges a few hand slaps with the gang. Doyle and his friends gather around the school's front door, whistling and making comments at the various girls who pass by. Amy Brightower, a plain, squirrelish girl, straight brown hair, zero makeup, dull, outdated clothes. Amy is a classic nerd. Amy passes Doyle and his friends. The boys see her. They begin to snicker, making fun of her appearance. Doyle calls out to her.
Hey, Amy! Where do you shop for clothes? The city dump?
Doyle and his friends break into hilarious laughter. Amy tries to ignore Doyle, continuing to move toward the school front doors. She is visibly hurt. Interior, classroom. Short, elderly teacher, Mrs. Caligula, walks through the aisles of students. Mrs. Caligula is passing out graded tests. She stops at Doyle, who is flirting with a girl behind him. Mrs. Caligula grabs Doyle by the arm. She shoots him an annoyed glance.
Doyle, you may have scored 30 points on the football field this weekend, but you only scored 3 points on your exam.
Several of the students chuckle. Doyle is slightly embarrassed. Mrs. Caligula walks to Amy.
Congratulations, Amy. As always, you have the highest score in the class, a perfect 100.
Amy smiles. Doyle turns, glaring at her. Interior, cafeteria. Doyle sits with his clique of friends. Doyle notices Amy walking by. Doyle winks to his friends. He stands and walks up to Amy.
Amy, what are you doing Friday night?
No plans.
How would you like a date?
Amy pauses, uncertain that Doyle really means it, but the possibility is exciting. Amy nods.
Yes, that'd be fun.
Doyle reaches off screen and pulls back a skinny, nerdy kid.
Good. Then you can go out with Nicky Nerdo. I wouldn't be caught dead with you.
Doyle gives a loud laugh and walks back to his friends. An embarrassed Nicky Nerdo walks away. Amy is left alone, hurt. A tear falls from her eye. Suddenly, a voice echoes over the PA system.
Will Doyle Cleverlobe and Amy Brightower please report to the principal's office?
Doyle exchanges a puzzled glance with his friends. Amy stands and hurries out of the cafeteria. Doyle follows. Interior, principal's office. Principal Ripquick, a thin, elderly man, sits behind his desk. Amy and Doyle enter his office. The principal stands and excitedly smiles.
Amy, Doyle, come in. Sit down. Sit down.
Doyle and Amy sit down, puzzled. The principal smiles.
Let me be the first to congratulate you. You have both been chosen to become Elvis Presley High foreign exchange students.
Amy and Doyle at first smile. The principal continues.
Together, you will travel to...
Amy and Doyle exchange a horrified glance and interrupt the principal.
Together?
The principal nods and smiles. Both Amy and Doyle shake their heads. No, vehement.
I'm not going anywhere with him. He's incredibly egotistical, extremely cruel, and unbelievably stupid.
And I'm not going anywhere with her. She's a total bore. She dresses like a monkey, and she isn't even popular.
Popularity has nothing to do with our choice.
What does? I mean, we're total opposites.
Exactly. We wanted two different types of students. So, we chose the top student in the class and the bottom student in the class.
I wonder where we're going.
A dream bubble appears over Amy's head. In her daydream, Amy is in Italy, looking at the Mona Lisa. A dream bubble also appears over Doyle's head. In his dream, he is dancing through buckets of grapes with several Italian girls. Amy dreams of seeing ancient statues in Japan. Doyle dreams of being flocked by Japanese girls. Amy dreams of seeing the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Doyle dreams of wearing a beret and kissing a French girl on the Riviera. At the exact moment, Amy and Doyle reach the same level of excitement and cry out to the principal.
So, where are we going?
Flutor.
Amy and Doyle exchange a confused glance. Doyle gives a numb look to the principal.
Is that in Wisconsin?
It's in outer space.
Outer space?
Amy and Doyle's dream bubbles melt. The principal nods and lowers a map of the universe. He looks at the kids.
In an alien survey of all the students in the United States, you two have been chosen to attend Galaxy High School on the planet Flutor. It's a school made up of alien students throughout the universe.
Doyle stands, protesting. He backs toward the door.
Outer space? No way. My life's right here on Earth. I got 9 more football games, the senior prom, a movie date with Monica Devco. No way am I giving up all that.
What if it's the only way you'll graduate?
Doyle pauses. He's got no choice.
I'll do it, but only on one condition.
Yes?
I don't have to hang out with some smelly, gross, slimy, bug-eyed aliens.
Doyle backs into a large paramecium-shaped alien. The alien's name is Oliver Oilslick. His head, hands, and feet are paramecium amoeba-shaped. Ollie is dressed in sunglasses, a cap, leather jacket, and jeans. Ollie speaks in a Brooklyn-like accent.
How's it going, pal? Name's Ollie Oilslick, taxi driver from Flutor. The school hired me to drive you and the lady back to Galaxy High.
Ollie walks to Doyle, standing less than an inch from Doyle's face. Ollie smiles.
What's the matter, Earth boy? You prejudiced against aliens or something?
No, not me, never.
Good. Then let's hit the road. We got 60 billion miles to cover, and I'm stuck with the oldest set of wheels this side of Pluto.
Hard-driving rock and roll fills the soundtrack. Cut to a broken-down, yellow, rusted spaceship flying through outer space. A huge taxi light rests on the spaceship top. Stenciled on the spaceship's sides reads, "First 1 million miles, 90 cents. Every mile after that, 10 cents. The spaceship flies through the stars and around the planets. Nearly hitting a comet, the spaceship zips out of the way at the last moment. Ollie screams from his window at the comet.
Moron! Where'd you learn how to drive, Jersey?
Interior, spaceship, A combination interior of modern spaceship and New York City taxi. Amidst the sophisticated control panel in front of Ollie is a wildly clicking taxi meter. No smoking signs are everywhere. Amy perches beside the large spaceship window, peering into the universe. She is totally fascinated. Doyle reclines on an easy chair. He nibbles from a bag of Plutonian potato chips and reads a magazine, Alien Bathing Beauties. The spaceship passes Saturn in an instant. Amy excitedly exclaims to Doyle,
You just missed Saturn.
Big deal. I've already seen it on Star Trek.
I'm stuck in the middle of outer space with a metal midget.
Hey, I don't like it any better than you, and I'll tell you one thing. I don't want you following me around, expecting me to show you the ropes once we get to the planet.
Following you around?
Yeah, I can't let the alien girls get the wrong idea. Once they see an Earth boy, especially one as cool as me, I'll be more popular than I was on Earth. And I don't want you screwing it up for me.
You don't have to worry about me. I won't go anywhere near you.
Doyle gives a confident nod and smile. Suddenly, the spaceship begins to bump, rumble. Ollie turns back to Amy and Doyle.
Buckle up, kiddies. We're entering Fludor's atmosphere.
Amy and Doyle buckle their seatbelts. The spaceship begins to nosedive. It's a bumpy ride as the spaceship lands with a thud. Everything is calm. Ollie unbuckles his safety belt. He stands and looks at the slightly shaky Amy and Doyle.
Welcome to Fludor.
Exterior, spaceship. The hatch raises. Doyle and Amy climb out. They stare in awe at what lies before them. Ollie calls from inside.
That's it. Galaxy High School.
Camera pans to the high school. It is an enormous, high-tech tubular structure that is as awesome in its size as it is in its design. Countless sizes and shapes of spaceships are parked in the entrance, which is a large, clear tube. Ollie calls out to them, angry.
Hey, what about my tip?
Amy looks at Doyle. He pulls out his pockets, empty. Amy opens her purse, also empty. Doyle shrugs.
Sorry, no money.
Earth people.
Ollie closes the hatch to his spaceship and flies off. Doyle gives a shrug to Amy. They gaze at the school with wonderment.
I think that would have been a fascinating way to kick off the series. As you no doubt saw, the top of the first page stated that the introduction was to be adapted and condensed into the main titles, which it kind of was, albeit very condensed. But I do love that we would have gotten to see Doyle and Amy's lives and interactions on Earth in this original opening scene. Amazingly, the Don Felder sung introduction to the show did its job, as it perfectly summed up their personalities as well as their lives at high school prior to the first time we meet them in the series. The pilot script, with numerous dialogue alterations here and there, continues, but the previously mentioned unused character only seen in the series Bible, Snideley Silverfish, the vice principal, makes an appearance in a scene that wonderfully sums up what the plans were for the character.
Doyle reaches down to pet the dog. Suddenly, the dog's eyes bulge. He opens his mouth to reveal hundreds of fangs. The dog begins to growl. The dog grows from 1 foot to 7 feet tall. The dog has turned from friendly to angry. The dog leaps forward, trying to bite off Doyle's hand. Doyle turns and runs. The giant, vicious dog chases Doyle through the hallways. Doyle runs to a dead end, trapped. Sludge skids to a stop. A few inches from Doyle, the dog snarls, bares his fangs. Coming toward Doyle, the dog removes a knife and fork and begins to rub them together. Doyle is ready to scream. The giant dog is only a few inches away. Suddenly, a voice interrupts.
Sludge! Down! Down, boy!
The dog turns. His owner, Snideley Silverfish, walks toward him. Snideley resembles a giant cockroach, but he wears a tuxedo and puffs on a cigar. He is the vice principal, a real operator. His voice is very similar to W.C. Field's. Upon hearing Snideley's voice, Sludge immediately stops his attack on Doyle. The dog shrinks back to his normal size. Snideley gives his dog a bone and raises an eyebrow to the still frightened Doyle.
You'll have to excuse my dog, Sonny. He loves earthlings. For lunch, that is.
Doyle nods. Snideley extends a cockroach hand for Doyle to shake.
The name's Snideley Silverfish. I'm vice principal up here. You must be the new Earth boy.
Doyle gives a frightened nod. Snideley leans closer and whispers to Doyle.
Let me tell you something, Sonny. I may be on the faculty, but that doesn't mean I ain't got a soft spot for the students. Whatever you need, I can get you. Need a date for the prom? Need better grades? Want a spot on student government? I'm the man to see. I can fix any problems. For the right price.
Doyle nods. Snideley grins and walks away. Doyle hurries back to Milo and Amy.
Another scene omitted from the final script that is worth pointing out was to have seen the true foundation between Doyle and Milo established. With Doyle having beaten Beef in the Zuggleball game, he and Milo have a brief conversation that affirms their friendship. It's lovely because it reveals a particular side of Milo's personality whilst also showing that Doyle has grown somewhat.
Interior, hallway. Later, Doyle is surrounded by various alien students. All of them are talking to Doyle, laughing with him. Doyle appears to be eating it up, but from the corner of his eye, he sees Milo, standing at the end of the hallway, alone. Doyle excuses himself from the other students and walks over to Milo.
Milo.
Milo turns. A look of uncertainty covers his face.
Well, now that you won, I guess you've got all the friends you want. Probably don't need me hanging around anymore.
Milo, you were the only person who would talk to me when I first got here. The only person who would be my friend. I can't forget that. We're best friends, Milo. We always will be.
Milo smiles, touched. Doyle is interrupted by Amy.
And in the final scene of the episode in which Doyle and Amy converse, the former overconfident jock is actually far more reflective, realising just how tough Amy's life was back at their former Earth-based high school.
Hey, just wanted to say congratulations.
Thanks. Look, Amy, for the first time in my life, I knew what it was like to be unpopular, to be treated like a jerk by everyone around me. I guess that's kind of how you felt back on Earth, huh?
Amy nods.
But I also realized how unimportant all of that popularity junk is. That's all on the surface. The only thing that really counts is what comes from the heart. Friendship, love, stuff like that. And I was hoping that maybe you and maybe we could become friends.
Sure.
The scene continues pretty much like the final episode, with Amy getting her revenge on Doyle, setting him up on a date with Gilda Gossip. So there you have it, a few rather notable scenes that I think would have serviced the final episode well. That said, as these videos will continue to establish, there was very little wrong with Galaxy High School, except maybe the time slot, but we'll get to that. Chapter 9, Unproduced Episodes. As you should know by now, Galaxy High School only ever received 13 episodes, which was a crying shame, but still common in the mid-1980s for animated shows produced specifically for networks instead of for syndication. The episodes produced and aired were as follows: Welcome to Galaxy High, Pizza's Honor, The Beef Who Would Be King, Where's Milo, Those Eyes, Those Lips, Doyle's New Friend, Dollars and Cents, Beach Blanket Blow Up, The Brain Blaster, The Brat Pack, Founders Day, Martian Mumps, and It Came from Earth. However, as with any show in development, a number of episodes planned never saw the light of day. and so I'm going to delve into them as best I can. Firstly, the Draft Series Bible has the episodes listed as Welcome to Galaxy High, Pizza's Honor, though oddly it appears to be crossed out as if the premise had been abandoned, Bowie's Idol, which would of course evolve into Those Eyes, Those Lips, Where's Milo, My Buddy Beef, an episode that we shall get into and one that it appears that they really wanted to make, The Time Machine, a really fun episode with an amusing payoff, Doyle's New Friend, although somewhat different in premise than the episode produced, Opposites Attract, a Freaky Friday-esque episode, Dollars and Cents, The Brain Blaster, The Day the School Stood Still, which sees the school warring factions come together to record a We Are the World type song, The King Who Would Be Beef, an early title for The Beef Who Would Be King, and My Favourite Yearbook, which was seen to be an episode reliant on a bunch of mini stories. The final series Bible has the episodes listed as of April the 14th, 1986, Welcome to Galaxy High, Where's Milo, The Time Machine, Bowie's Idol, My Buddy Beef, Pizza's Honor, seemingly back in, Doyle's New Friend, Dollars and Cents, The Brat Pack, The Brain Blaster, The King Who Would Be Beef, To Surf with Love, an earlier version of Beach Blanket Blow Up, and The Day the School Stood Still. Larry DiTillio, in his role as story editor, had additional submitted premises to hand, and so we have the aforementioned My Buddy Beef, written by Barry Glasser and Mark Rosen, a story which I'll get into shortly, Three to Get Freddy and the Plays The Thing, written by Michael Halperin, yes, Michael Halperin, who developed He-Man and the Masters of the Universe for Mattel, and Administrator from Mars, Planet of the Bonks, The Bonk with Two Heads, and When Camps Collide, all penned by Ken Kuntz and David Weimers. Now, normally, cartoons would have many more episode submissions, usually many freelance scripts. However, 1, this was only a 13 episode season, and 2, from paperwork which I cannot show due to personal information being present, it appears that Larry DiTillio knew the select few writers he wanted working on the show. As I said, the episode My Buddy Beef is one I'd like to highlight, as I think it would have been one of the best of the series. Rather than read the original outline dated April 26, 1986, I'll read the more fleshed out second draft dated April 29, 1986. Ahem.
Prologue. Amy is taking her books out of her locker, and the locker says,
I'm sure you're going to get 100% on your Astra Word test. I'm proud to be your locker.
Amy returns the compliment. Doyle is looking through his messy locker for his bowling ball that he brought with him from Earth. But the locker is in such disarray and so stuffed to the brim with clutter that he can't find it.
You want to find it?
The locker barks nastily.
Here.
With that, the locker dumps the entire contents onto the hall floor. Just as Doyle picks up the bowling ball, he bumps into Beef, who is standing behind him, ready to drop one of Rotten Roland's eggs onto Doyle's head. When Doyle bumps into Beef, Beef's arm jerks back, and Beef smashes the egg into his own forehead.
That's it for you, Earth Boy.
Doyle turns white and starts to run with the bowling ball under his arm. Beef runs after him. Amy runs after both, trying to stop them. In the next lap of the chase, Katrina Daffy is trotting down the hall, followed by 3 of her girls, Bowie, Gilda, and Wendy, in their space jogging suits. Coming at them from the opposite direction are first Doyle's bowling ball, then Doyle pursued by Beef, and followed by Amy. To avoid a collision, Katrina rears up on her hind legs, neighing and whinnying. Biddy comes out of her office just in time for Doyle to crash into her, knocking the big bowl of fruit she was carrying out of her hands. When the fruits hit the floor, they pick themselves up and run away.
There goes my lunch,
Biddy says.
That's what you get for ordering fast food. Who's responsible for this?
Katrina spills the beans on Doyle and Beef, straight from the horse's mouth. We cut to Biddy addressing Beef and Doyle in her office. Amy watches with concern. Biddy is going through her enormous collection of bulbs to find one that will give her the brightest idea she's ever had to come up with. This is going to require the biggest brainstorm ever, because she's determined, she says, to figure out how to make Doyle and Beef best friends and put an end to all their nonsense. Finally, with the right bulb screwed in, she screws up her face. And suddenly the gigantic brainstorm bulb, crackling with thunder and lightning, lights up.
I've got it.
She breaks into a smile and starts laughing.
You're going to be best friends, or else.
Beef and Doyle look at each other, wide-eyed. Act 1. In Biddy's office, Beef boasts there's nothing Ms. McBrain can do that will make him friends with the Earth Boy. Biddy assures him there is, as she goes to her multi-drawered files and says to the cabinets,
I want the files on the detention planet.
Beef and Doyle look at each other. The file cabinet shudders and screams.
Oh no, not that place!
Then the file cabinets undulate and transform themselves into a screen, while Biddy explains that unless Beef and Doyle prove to her that they can be friends and go for the whole week without fighting, they will be exiled for a week on the detention planet. And there on the screen, in the style of a horror movie, we see kids doing homework in a cobwebbed dungeon with a fanged and horned teacher, a creature version of Biddy, reciting the multiplication tables.
Do you think you boys can be friends for a week?
Biddy asks with a smile. Doyle and Beef tentatively shake hands. Biddy tells Amy she wants her to keep an eye on the boys to help them out if they have any trouble. Biddy is sure if they can be friends for a week, they'll be friends for life. In the classroom where the Astra word test is going to be given by Flora Facsimile, Gilda is telling everyone that Beef and Doyle are going to be best friends. Rotten Roland and Earl don't believe her. Beef and Doyle enter with their arms around each other, followed by Amy with her fingers crossed. We cut to the Astra word test. Beef is at the board. The board asks him to write a word that means the same thing as terrific. Beef writes and says, me. The board erases his answer and, out of irritation, nearly erases Beef. Doyle comes up to the board. The board asks the same thing of Doyle, a synonym for terrific. Doyle writes and says, Beef. The board erases his answer and says,
You're as dumb as that dope who was up here before.
Earl and Rotten Roland challenge Beef.
Was Gilda right? Are you and Doyle best friends?
Beef says nothing. But as Doyle returns to his seat, Earl eggs Beef to trip him. Beef is tempted, puts out his foot, then pulls it back. As Doyle walks by Beef, Doyle pats him on the back in friendship. Rotten Roland and Earl watch in disbelief. Panning above the whooshers on the way to the shopping mall satellite, we hear Rotten Roland and Earl saying that Beef must be up to something wonderfully horrible, and they can't wait to find out why he's pretending to be Doyle's friend. We're in the mall's Space Bowling Alley, but in the world of Galaxy High, space bowling has no alleys. The player puts on magnetic shoes that keep him anchored to the floor, which comes to a sudden end where he hurls the ball into space. The balls go streaking, changing colors, towards pins that are on discs, floating against the stars. First, we see Milo bowling 6 balls simultaneously at 6 sets of pins. Then we move to another lane where Beef and Doyle are competing with each other, watched by Earl, Roland, Amy, and Gilda. Beef bombs out. Doyle wins. Roland and Earl demand that Beef bowl Doyle into space to avenge the Bonk Bunch team's honor. Beef looks at Doyle, tempted to do it, but Amy's warning makes Beef visualize the detention planet. Beef smiles weakly at Doyle and says,
"Good game, Earth Boy."
then moves away, picking up a bowling ball and crushing it in his bare hands, saying emotionally as he exits,
"This friendship business is gonna make me crazy."
Rotten Roland and Earl say in sadness,
What's happening to the old beef?
Echoing through all the whooshers on the way to Luigi's Pizza Satellite, we hear Gilda's voice announcing that Doyle beat Beef at bowling and Beef didn't do anything about it. Later at Luigi's, everybody's eyes, including Roland's and Earl's, are on Beef as he walks in and orders something from Doyle. Wendy comes up to Beef and asks if it's true that Doyle beat Beef at bowling. Beef eyes Doyle, who is delivering Beef's octopasto sandwich, something with tentacles and tomato sauce. Beef is clearly tempted when he takes the sandwich to put Doyle between the two pieces of bread. Everybody at the surrounding tables moves out of the way. The jukebox runs out of the way. Wendy loops her boa around Doyle and says seductively that she'd much rather be with a winner than a loser like Beef. Amy warns Beef,
No, don't!
as Beef is about to lunge for Doyle. Beef restrains himself and instead forces himself to offer Doyle a piece of the octopasto sandwich. Roland and Earl frown. Biddy comes into Luigi's and everything immediately quiets down. She sees Beef and Doyle becoming friends, and she's thrilled. Now, for the next step in your friendship, she tells them Beef has to take Doyle home for the weekend to visit his family. That's what real best friends do. Rotten Roland and Earl are furious.
Beef never did that for me.
They shout. Doyle is excited. Beef drops his sandwich onto the floor, shocked, and mutters,
"Uh-oh."
Act 2. Getting into Ollie Oilslick's space taxi with Doyle, Beef tells Ollie to take off for Beef's home planet Bonkers. Doyle protests they should wait for Amy.
"Nah,"
says Beef.
"It's not her type of planet."
As the cab takes off, we see Rotten Roland and Earl watching sadly. We're pushing in on Beef's home planet, Bonkers, with Beef and Doyle in Ollie Oilslick's cab. Now we see why Beef said it wasn't Amy's type of planet. All the garbage ships in the galaxy fly above the surface of Bonkers to dump their garbage. Ollie pulls up in front of Beef's house, which is surrounded by garbage and looks like a junkyard in the Ozarks. When Beef opens the door of his house, two little miniature Beefs, his younger twin brothers, come running out, fighting with each other, and they knock Beef and Doyle down. The twins, Bim and Bam Bonk, are fighting over an Earth Boy doll, which they proceed to destroy as they fight. Doyle does not take this as a good sign. In the house, Biff Bonk, Beef's father, is having an argument through the window with his neighbors. The neighbor is complaining that Biff is littering his lawn with empty Fizzo cans. Biff, who is drinking Fizzo at the time, slugs down the last drop and hurls the empty can right through the neighbor's window. The neighbor threatens to call the police. Biff shouts,
"Why don't you go back to Venus, you fly trap?"
Then, as he shuts the window, he mutters,
"The kind of trash they're letting on the planet nowadays."
Sudden shrieks from the backyard. Doyle reacts in fright. Rolling in through the back door are Beef's sister Buffy and his mother Dolores in wrestling tights, wrestling with each other, practicing for their next tag team bout. Biff asks them,
"Either of you two girls want a Fizzo?"
Buffy answers,
No, I'm in training.
All of them suddenly realize that Beef and Doyle are standing in the middle of the house. Beef, embarrassed, introduces Doyle.
"Mom, Dad, Sis, this is my friend from school."
Biff asks Doyle,
"You from Earth?"
Doyle nods. Buffy, Biff, and Dolores say in unison,
"Earth stinks."
Doyle looks at Beef. He knows it all now. The twins, Bim and Bam, come running in, having a tug of war with what looks like a filthy blanket. Each wants to present it to their mother. Dolores shouts,
"Stop tearing my tablecloth. We have company for dinner."
On Doyle's reaction. We cut to a party in progress in the Bonk dining room. Laundry hangs from the chandelier, and there are mountains of crushed Fizzo cans in the corner. Whenever Biff and Dolores finish a Fizzo, they crush the can and toss it onto the pile. The party is being held because Beef has come home for a rare visit. Beef keeps trying to cut the visit short, saying that Doyle has to get back and do his homework because he's falling behind. But the family won't hear of it. They've got gifts to give out. Each of them gives Beef a gift-wrapped box. The twins give him a jack-in-the-box that pops up and punches Beef in the face. The whole family laughs. Buffy gives him a plant-filled flower pot. When Beef smells the flowers, they squirt him. Again, the family is convulsed. Biff slaps Doyle on the back to make him laugh, and Doyle kerplops forward into the food. The family is hysterical. Dolores presents her gift, one that she says is more practical. By now, Beef is afraid to open it. It's a notebook with a hand that takes notes. Beef looks at it, real impressed, until the hand turns around and tweaks his nose. Now it's Dad's turn. Biff's gift is a toast to his son. Biff is seemingly sincere, but during the toast, he gives a wink to Bim and Bam, who place a cushion on Beef's chair while Beef is standing. When Beef sits down after the toast, the cushion starts making siren-like noises. Doyle shouts,
"It's the police!"
The family ignores this, laughing. Biff answers a loud knock on the door. When he opens it, a heap of garbage falls into the house, and the neighbor's voice shouts,
"Maybe that'll teach you a lesson, Biff Bonk."
Biff yells back,
"We'll see who teaches who."
Then he and the whole family run out after the neighbor. Doyle and Beef are now alone at the dining room table. Beef, his voice breaking a little, looking at all the gag gifts, says,
"Hey, my name's Beef, so the folks were giving me a roast."
Doyle feels bad for Beef and offers a true toast.
"To my buddy Beef."
As Beef and Doyle approach Flutor in Ollie Oilslick's cab, Biddy has gathered all of Galaxy High to greet them on the front campus. Milo leads the school band with a baton in each hand. Biddy says her 2 prize pupils have passed the test, and instead of tickets to the detention planet, Biddy presents them with trophies that show 2 friends shaking hands. Everyone cheers, except Rotten Roland and Earl, who react with dismay. Amy watches proudly. As they begin walking towards the school, Doyle tells Amy and Beef how terrible he felt seeing the way Beef's family acted, and the way they treated Beef. Nobody should ever act that way. When Beef hears this, he drops his trophy. It breaks so that the 2 friends are no longer shaking hands. Earl says to Beef,
"You gonna let him talk like that about your family?"
And with the hope that Beef is going to return to his old self, Rotten Roland offers Beef a bunch of rotten eggs. Beef shouts to Doyle,
"Hey, buddy."
Doyle turns back.
"Yeah, good, buddy?"
Hurling the rotten egg at Doyle, Beef yells,
"Earth stinks!"
Doyle, wiping the yolk out of his hair, shouts back,
"Bonkers stinks even worse!"
Earl and Rotten Roland are thrilled, and Beef is absolutely elated as he begins chasing Doyle while Milo innocently keeps the band playing. The end.
I hope upon hearing all of that, you can appreciate why I think this was an episode that I believe would have been a standout in the series. I like the fact that the episode starts off with the usual Galaxy High School shenanigans, but quickly evolves into a real examination of the relationship between Doyle and Beef. It's fair to say that the episode The Beef Who Would Be King did touch upon this, with Doyle and Beef exchanging a few brief moments of understanding, But what I love so much about My Buddy Beef is that the episode was really going to explore the social observation that bullies at school often have a rather tough home life, and thus, in this episode, we would have seen that Beef was not only shaped by his home life, but by the very culture of his society, who seemingly love nothing more than to bully. Now, don't get me wrong, I was never looking for a deep character study into why Beef Bonk is the way he is, but I think this episode would have touched upon it rather nicely without getting too heavy-handed. I'll briefly touch upon those other two submitted stories that never went anywhere. 3 to Get Freddy was, as the title suggests, an episode that focused on Flat Freddy. A school trip sees our cast taken to an asteroid on which abandoned animals are taken care of. Freddy is angered at the Bonk Bunch's who cares attitude towards the animals. As the students explore the asteroid, Finn Fishman, a real estate developer, declares that he will close down the way station and build a casino unless the mortgage can be paid in full. Freddy, along with his friends, organises a charity event, a scavenger hunt, in order to raise the necessary funds. However, Freddy does not take part, believing himself to be too little. Meanwhile, Finn Fishman meets with Beef, promising him a hefty reward if he can prevent the others from winning. Freddy finds himself in the position of being the only one who can stop Beef. When Beef and the Bonk Bunch learn of this, they chant, 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get Freddy. Which 3? We 3. The Bonk Bunch do their best to stop Freddy, but fail. Finn Fishman is paid off with the winnings and the way station is saved. Hurrah! The play's The Thing begins at Luigi's Luna Pizza Parlour, with the students learning that the drama teacher, John Hosenose, is going to be putting on a modern rock musical version of Romeo and Juliet called Space Side Story. Meanwhile, at a faculty meeting, Miss McBrain informs the others that several cases of the Martian mumps have been reported. Now, you may be thinking that this is an early version of the episode Martian Mumps, but it is not. In this premise, the Martian mumps result in the rehearsals for the play going somewhat awry. The only 2 students untouched by the virus are Freddy and Bowie, resulting in the episode culminating in a terrible performance of the famous balcony scene as John Hosenose sinks into his chair while the audience laughs. Administrator from Mars sees the reputation of Galaxy High School slipping, resulting in a team of disciplinary experts arriving, Martians who have a reputation for being the stiffest, dullest, strictest, most boring inhabitants of the universe. Now again, this actually ties into the episode Martian Mumps, as the result of catching that virus in the episode gave the victim those traits. The Martians begin to imply some major changes, much to the students' chagrin. The students soon uncover a nefarious plot. The Martians are using a machine called the Conformer Transformer on undisciplined students, with even poor Bowie being turned into an emotionless zombie. The Martians soon pursue Doyle and Amy, but they are saved by Marsha Martian, the new head resident of the girls' dorm, and a Martian with a rebellious streak. Eventually, Doyle and Amy are caught by the Martians and taken to Mars for a complete personality alteration. They manage to escape, with Doyle using the Conformer Transformer to reverse the process, resulting in all students having different personalities. During the finale, the superintendent arrives for the school inspection, ordering the Martians to fix everything, which they do. Planet of the Bonks begins with Beef, frustrated that Amy is going on a date with Doyle instead of him. Beef steals Flat Freddy's science fair project, a personality transformer, and switches personalities with Doyle. Sadly for Doyle, no one believes that it is him inside of Beef's body, and even worse, Beef is due to visit his mother and father. Doyle, as Beef, soon realises why Beef is the way he is, as he is the brunt of all their jokes, jibes and insults. At this point you can see that this was an earlier version of My Buddy Beef, though with the Freaky Friday body swap aspect in place. The Bonk with 2 heads sees the students surprised by Beef, who appears to be even meaner than usual. Even Rotten Roland and Earl Eck stay clear of him. As Beef gets into yet another altercation with Doyle, they bump into Flat Freddy, who is carrying his science fair project, a matter mesher. The machine hits the floor, activates and zaps Doyle and Beef into one person. They are attached, side by side, like conjoined twins. The story follows how the pair have to live together, and Beef is due to journey back to his home planet for the Thanks for Nothing Day celebrations. When Beef's family continue to ridicule him for not being mean enough, Doyle defends him, angering the Bonk family. Doyle and Beef manage to escape with Beef's brother Buffalo chasing them down. Back at Galaxy High School, Freddy reveals that he can separate them, but only one will survive. Selfishly, both Doyle and Beef want to be the only one to survive, resulting in a coin toss. Doyle loses and begins to say farewell to his friends, with Amy sobbing. Amy soon learns that Doyle can be saved from a recently separated Myrtle Blastermeyer, herself having been separated from her long-suffering husband Harvey Blastermeyer. Doyle and Beef are transported to Baja Cometfornia, where they are separated. Doyle and Beef now appear to be friends until Beef reveals that he used a two-headed coin in the previously mentioned toss. When camps collide, as the students visit Camp Gonamuck, an intergalactic summer camp, Beef is made the camp sergeant. Doyle hates the militaristic, impersonal way in which the camp is run, with Amy believing that discipline is good. Doyle decides to impress Amy and show that he can be disciplined, but Amy has a change of heart when she realises what the camp leader is up to. He's using the kids as pawns to get back at a rival camp across the river. The kids in both camps eventually make peace, making an example of the elder leaders. And there you have it. That covers all of the episodes that never saw the light of day. Chapter 10, Schedule. The paperwork that Larry DiTillio handed to me really does showcase just how fast things moved in production. There were many pages of schedules, but this was the final one. Upon looking at the completed tasks, we know that Chris Columbus created the series Bible on April the 9th, 1986, and across the months of April, May, June, July, and at the latest August, the scripts were completed, with the dialogue recorded by the cast. But the thing that absolutely shocks me is when you realise that from start to finish, one episode of Galaxy High School took roughly 4 to, at most, 5 months to complete. The reason this shocks me is because the quality of what we see on screen is incredible, especially for such a quick turnaround. Think about that for a second. In April, you begin work developing a cartoon that will debut in September. In my experience of seeing the production of many a cartoon of the 1980s, you're often looking at a year or more before a single episode is produced once development has commenced, even on other shows that saw their animation outsourced. And that's it for part 3. I hope to see you back here bright and early for part 4. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.